Shalom Yasharala, this your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of the great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump to this here article real quick, which kind of stands out a little bit. You know, you have a couple more of these banks that's so-called collapsing and everything, you know. But I just, kind of see it a little funny now. Maybe it just may be the area that I'm in or whatever. But hey, at the same time, you're hearing about a lot of these different banks that are so-called collapsing or getting taken over. In reality, are getting taken over by other banks or how they say consolidating. All right. But it's having, the how do I say, the advertisement of all this is, to the elites, so to say, is more valuable than the actual banking situations, right? So one of the things I've noticed is, check out how this here article is written. It says almost half of Americans think money is unsafe in banks, all right? And so what do you have also going on at the same time? You have this FedNow system being rolled out, which is going to be a new way of transferring funds, safe and secure. They have a thing that they call the Hegelian dialectic, which is problem, reaction, solution. Pressure from above, pressure from below. They squeeze you in the middle. All right. You have a problem, reaction, solution. The solution is, they want to get you into this MOTB system, and the problem is you have unsafe banking, unsafe regulations, people with fraud, FTX, the crypto and all that fraud and everything else like that going on. Your money not being, or people thinking that their money is not safe in these banks, which is causing them to go get, causing them to go do bank runs. All right. And you got the majority of you peons is going to go do all of this shit anyway, right? You don't have enough money in the bank to even, your money is safe in the bank, right? Let's be honest. Most people don't have $250,000 in the bank. Even if you had that kind of money, let's just say you make $250,000 a year, right? Just think about how much money, whatever amount of money you make, let's forget the $250,000. However much money you make annually, let's say you make $40,000 a year annually. You're not keeping $40,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? You may cost you 30. It depends on how you budget your life out. You may spend 35,000 a year, so you only left over with 5,000. And with that 5,000, you probably gonna go and spurge that throughout the year anyway, right? You're not really putting that shit in the bank like that, man. All right, and again, even if you did make $250,000 using the same analogy, all that $250,000 is not going into the bank. All right, you have to have so much more than that. And once you have that type of money, if you had $250,000 to just be sitting around in a bank account, you would be smart enough not to have it sitting around in the bank account and have it invested into something making you some money. All right, because $250,000 in the bank, the way it should work is you make interest off of it, but you don't make, what is that, 1% of that shit? You know what I'm saying? Something like that, or less than that. That ain't that much money. What, you gonna make, $2,500 or some shit like that off of that? $250,000? You'd be better off, loaning that shit out or flipping this shit out. You know what I'm saying? Make you some money with that, But yet and still, let's say, for instance, if you was to buy a house for $250,000, right? You could turn around and rent that house out and make $2,500 a month off of rent. You know what I'm saying? And then you could sell the house at $250,000 is still there. Saying all that to say this, most people who think like that or who think about, oh, my money is unsafe in the bank. Like I said, you don't have $250,000 in the bank, right? So your money is safe to begin with. All right. You may have $100 in the bank, $200 in the bank, $3,000 in the bank. That shit's safe in the bank. Right. But nevertheless, now granted, hey, they can take whatever they want to take up out of your bank account. But as far as this here scenario goes, most people that are so-called swayed by this are the people that don't understand how this here stuff works. But these are the same people, right? And I make this comparison to those that are running around, still riding around, which they talking about that they said that the pandemic was quote unquote over with now. But you still have people riding around with masks on, right? And wearing masks. It's funny. I seen somebody the other day. I had to take a double take. I thought it was a goddamn alien riding around in the car. I'm like, motherfucker, you still riding around in the car with the windows up with a mask on by yourself? You know what I'm saying? Like, who the hell is around you to get infected? You know what I'm saying? Like, where we at, you very rarely see people with masks on. But, you know what I'm saying? But just to still see people riding around in their cars with masks on, I'm like, man. But these are the same people we talking about. You know what I'm saying? So they will tell you, there's a saying sometimes like, it's the scared individual you really have to worry about, not the big tough guy, right? It's the scared guy. I don't know what's going on. He panicking. He maybe misjudging the situation or whatever, and just pull out a gun and shoot your ass, all because he just thought that you might have snapped on him like the whole time. You didn't even see him. You was walking past him to go get a beer from the bar or something like that. But this scary motherfucker then popped your ass, right? So Same way to say this with these folks that's with the mask on riding around in their car. These are these unstable people that's just willing to go and do any and everything. Same way with this, right? Those same people that's in that same boat that's believing whatever's on the TV with the mask and everything, the same ones that want to go and start making bank runs at the bank, which, you know what I'm saying? Again, it's not going to make a real effect, but it's the, how do I say, it's the visual effect of these things I have, of getting things to go. Again, going back to the pandemic, when they were saying that, there was these shortages of this and that, and they had the lines wrapped all the way around, certain stores and stuff. All this did was make people to go and do what? Panic buy, right? When we had those shortages, there was actually never a shortage of anything. It was just the fact that people was buying stuff off the shelf at a super accelerated rate that they couldn't get the shelves stocked back fast enough before people was emptying the shelves back off again, which created that effect. But all of that was, and again, another scenario we had after the pandemic, there was like a gas pipeline that got hacked, and there was going to be a shortage of gas. And that just went out over the news with this TikTok mindset and mentality. People don't really listen to the fine print. They just hear the headlines. And so we had people here in Florida buying up gas, and where we was running out of gas. Like, yo, y'all know the pipeline that they talking about don't even affect Florida, right? But you see everybody at the gas station piling up, you know what I'm saying? Causing a crisis, right? So problem, reaction, solution. Think about this, right? We trying to, well, not we, but, well, hey, we are too. We looking forward to the end. All right. Esau's trying to get this here New World Order system popping off, man. All right. So it says, let me just brush through this here article real quick. They're going to give you some figures, but there's a certain paragraph in here, or two paragraphs in here that I think is kind of funny, but going back into what I'm saying, this is all playing off of people's minds and emotions. All right. It says nearly half, 48% of Americans are concerned about the safety of their bank deposits. Right. And again, the majority, half of Americans don't really have no money like that in the bank. All right. They may have money, but I'm telling you, they ain't got no $100,000 sitting in a bank account. Right now, there's a huge gap in, the low level and the high level people, like what they have in their bank accounts. Like you have the majority of people probably have less than what, 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 sitting in a bank account. All right. And then you have a huge gap of everybody else. Like your boy, what's his name? Kanye, right? The reason that Kanye was able to lose billions of dollars or $1 billion like that shit so quick wasn't that they went inside his bank account and took money out of that shit. He had a stock inside of companies and things like that, and things started to fail, and the value of his money wound up failing. So if I had, let's just say if I had $1 million, right, and then I deposited it in the Robinhood and I bought $1 million worth of Tesla stocks, right, and then all of a sudden Tesla lost 50% of his value in the stock market, then my $1 million would then turn to $500,000. And so, see, I would be like, oh, I'm not a millionaire no more. That's what pretty much happened, right? So these people aren't really just putting this money in a bank account for it to just sit around anyways, all right? Because they're smart enough to know these things. They have financial advisors telling them not to do that. You go to a Bank of America down the block, and you go try to put $500,000 in there, like, whoa, it's only covered up to $250,000. Do you want to open up another bank account? We can hold all the money, but just not in one account because it's not insured like that. It's not wise to do, right? Or go across the street to the other bank and put another $250,000 in there. So again, the story don't really even sound all that authentic to be trying to so-called tell or warn people about this. This is only for those dummies, like the ones who's walking around with the mask on in their damn cars and stuff like that, where you had other folks like, nah, like medical professionals like, nah, this ain't how this shit work for real, but y'all are gullible and believe whatever the hell you hear in the news. All right, so what the hell y'all, you know what I'm saying? So as we know which path they're trying to go down, all right, which system they're trying to build up. So it says nearly half of Americans are concerned about their safety deposits. There's about the safety of their bank deposits, according to the Gallup poll conducted a month after Silicon Valley and Signature Bank collapsed and published on Thursday. Earlier this week, First Republic Bank became the third major U.S. financial institute to close its doors in 3 months, reigniting fears about the industry's stability. And I can't remember exactly which bank it was. One of the recent, it could have been his First Republic Bank, but I think that was a little old. I think that was like, last month or something like that. Well, it said earlier this week. It could be that bank. But the other one was within a week or two. They said, I think it was JP Morgan and Chase took them over or something like that. But it says, and in reality, only thing that would happen with them banks is the name is going to change on the building, right? You know, like how you used to see them banks called SunTrust. Now they call Truist, right? They're in the same location, same fucking bank, right? They just got a different name on there. Or if you're old enough to remember Wachovia Bank, right? The same Wachovias in the same locations are now called what? Wells Fargo. Right, I was a part of that bank at that point in time when what was it called? Wachovia went under. Whatever the fuck happened to Wachovia. The only difference that I seen was one day I got in the mail a different color debit card. I'm like, here you go. Now the bank name is just different. So for you as the user, ain't nothing really gonna change for you, right? You know what I'm saying? But if anything, they just like, well, one bank took over another bank, and they just so on and so forth. But you stir up this panic inside of people, then people start pulling all their money up out of these banks and everything else like that, and then they could report on the news, oh, we're having major bank runs here and there, here and there. Then you have volatility with the stock markets and things like that. People have fears about a lot of things. Then all of a sudden, the stock market start reeling to and fro, back and forth, back and forth. That's when these companies start losing valuation. All right, then big money is starting to get lost at this here point in time when the stock of the company starts going up and down, man. All right, it says almost a fifth, 19% of the 1,013 Americans polled said that they were very worried. Now think about this: there's only less than 2,000 people. Now where did they go and poll these people at? Now, I can go to the hood and poll some folks, and they're gonna probably be scared. You know what I'm saying? Like not in the far hood, where they ain't got no bank accounts, but at least Jake that's living in the hood, working some decent factory jobs or whatever, got direct deposit at the bank account, but don't quite know how that shit worked. It's just set up for them like that. They may be thinking like this shit, but I'm telling you, if you these damn Edomites that's got any kind of business that's making more than $50,000 a year in a business, they know about this. This is not like every bank you go into. If you ever go inside of a bank and you walk up to the teller at the counter, either to the left or to the right, they got that little FDIC sign. That's right. That was the first thing I ever learned about banking. As a little kid, going to the bank with my grandma as a kid. When I could read, that was the only thing I could read and find out about was the FDIC thing, them little brass little things that sit at the teller window, right? Everybody know about that shit, man. All right, but hey, they making it seem like Jake, or not Jake, but people don't know about these things, right? It says a fifth, 19% of 1,013 Americans polled said they were very worried about the fate of their finances, while another 30%, let's just call it, moderately worried. The largest percent was not too worried. 30% and 20% were completely worry-free. All right. So, hey, the largest percent were not too worried. All right. And that's probably, Edomites or people who have a little bit of money or who actually go to banks. Right. It says the figures were similar to those reported in Gallup in 2008 following the collapse of the Lehman Brothers. Now, listen to this. It says the investment bank considered too big to fail, whose demise triggered the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression. So you see what they're kind of telegraphing here. We already know that this could be one of those triggers for what they want. They have this problem, reaction, solution. They have the solution already set. We heard about the Fed now. All right, them talking about the CBDCs and everything else like that. We know that they're working on a whole nother system, but how do we get to that system? You have to lose complete faith into this here system first. All right, problem, reaction, solution. The solution is, again, the new system that they have ready to go. The problem is you have to have no more trust. All right, no more faith in the current banking system, man. See that it's fraud, it's fake, it's corrupt. All right, too many failures in it. All right, bank runs, too many cryptocurrencies and all these different things is fucking up the system. So now we got to change up the situation, man. All right. It says Republicans were more likely to voice concerns about the safety of their money, while 55% reported they were worried compared to 51% of independents and 36% of Democrats. Now, and this is crazy because I'm not going to read too much more of this, but they're basically saying that while the Democrats are in office, the Republicans are fearing the money. When the Republicans was in office when this happened under Bush, the Democrats was worried about these things, But nevertheless, that's just, tit for tat. It says Americans making less than $100,000 per year were slightly more likely to worry about whether their money was safe in the bank than those who were making more. So there goes your caveat. Like I said, these broke people, you know what I'm saying, that in reality, $100,000 is not really, like, as far as how much money you making in America, is not really quote unquote broke, because the majority of Americans make like $50,000 a year, $40 to $50,000 a year. So, but in a larger scale, like, again, you're not really, if you make $100,000 a year, you're not putting that whole $100,000. It's not like you get one check at the end of the year, you ain't got no bills, and you put the whole $100,000 in the bank. And then even at that rate, you got to wait 2.5 more years to be able to make it to that $250,000. Right. So that's not really happening like that. But these are the people that says they were more likely to worry about these things. The people that are so-called uninformed, just like those that was rolling around with the mask on. People not really too up to date on health and how things like that shit work. They just read the headlines. That's why you have to, like the scripture say, study to show thyself approved. All right, because anybody could just tell you that, like for us, it's in the truth. When we hear people talking about the Bible and everything, we're like, that's what you believe. That ain't what the Bible say. Or the Bible speak completely different against that. Oh, God love everybody. Like, bro, you obviously ain't never read the Bible, because God do a whole lot of killing in the Bible, bro. What the hell are you talking about, man? God love his people, and he'd be destroying all these other nations for his people. What the hell y'all over here talking about, man? Y'all don't really know God. But see, this is how the uninformed is swayed. It says Americans making less than 100,000 a year were slightly more likely to worry about whether their money was safe in the bank than those that were making more, 50% versus 40%. Even though wealthier individuals' deposits would more likely to exceed the $250,000 covered by the federal deposit, the FDIC. So look, that's the point. Those that make more than that 100,000, were more than likely to have the amount of money that will go over that. But the reality of it is, they wasn't really worried because they know, I ain't really got no money in the bank like that. The majority of my money is tied up in assets, and this is like Elon Musk. Right, whenever Elon Musk lost billions of dollars, and he's no longer the richest man in America, and so on. That's because of the stocks is fluctuating here. It's not because he just lost so much money in the bank or everything else like that. When he wanted to buy Twitter, he didn't go to his bank account and just go pull out the money to buy Twitter. This nigga sold some of his Tesla stock and took that money and went and bought Twitter with it, man. They don't have this kind of money just sitting in the bank like that. It wouldn't be wise for them to just be having to just sit in a vault. It says, citing these figures and the fact that college-educated responses were less likely to be worried than those without degrees, Gallup hypothesized that worrying about whether one's bank deposits were safe were due to an ignorance of the FDIC safety net, though the pollsters acknowledged the distrust in the government might be a factor. So, nevertheless, we're not going to read any more of this, but there's a little bit. Let me read this next one. It says, nearly 200 American banks face similar risks to SVB, and that's the Silicon Valley Bank and the Signature Bank, according to the recent papers from the Social Science Research Network. Former Lehman Brothers VP Lawrence McDonald was more conservative with this estimate of 50 banks poised for collapse, but warned that deposit guarantees would have to be increased to stabilize the sector. Down at the bottom of his hand, Joe Biden would have raised it. But nevertheless, we see what things is being telegraphed here, man. All right, we see that this here article, like I said, it doesn't. If you really understand what the hell they're talking about, the article don't make no sense. I'm like, well, you got people worried about bank runs, right? You have people worried about bank runs and losing all their damn money. The only people that's worried about losing their damn money ain't got enough money. Well, they don't have enough money in the bank for them to actually lose, because the people that's worried got less than $250,000 in their bank. They would be covered anyway. And even if these banks do collapse, they just being taken over by other banks anyway, because these banks is like, well, shit, they like, let me think about it this way. If it's McDonald's and Burger King, right? If Burger King or let's say, I'll give you a different example. Well, hell, I know that, for instance, well, I don't know if everybody have all these, but we'll just say it this way. Walmart and Kmart, right? Let's say Kmart going out of business, even though they have different stores and designs. Just follow me for a second. Walmart and Kmart, or McDonald's and Burger King. One of them going out of business. Well, the other one would just, like, let's say McDonald's is buying out Burger King, or let's just say one is going out of business. The other company would just buy them out. And what they would do is like, well, all right, we'll just take down their names and put our name up on their store and continue selling right then and there. Just keep shit going the way it was going beforehand. You know what I'm saying? And we're just making more money up off of that, because it's easier for us to just, or not easier, it's more lucrative for us to just take over your shit. Now we got more spread instead of us. So let's say Walmart got 100 stores, right? Kmart got 100 stores. It would be cheaper and more lucrative for Walmart, in the case of Kmart going bankrupt, for Walmart to just buy up these 100 Kmart stores that's already built, already established, already got a location, already got traffic coming in, you know what I'm saying? Then for them to just go out and have to go and buy more land somewhere else, then go and build new Walmarts and everything else on it, where you can already just go in and move into an existing spot already at a discounted price. You see what I'm saying? Just put your name up on the building and repaint the logos and everything else like that, and then boom, you good to go. You already got a store stock full of some shit, just change the SKU numbers and you good to go, right? But nevertheless, this is what the people are so-called worried about right about now. But let's read this. This is 1 Thessalonians 5:1. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. Saying all that to say this. Problem, reaction, solution again. Most people are seeing these things and thinking this is just one thing or the other. But we in this here truth know about what? The how you say, the prophecies, the vision. The vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. All right, we know that Esau is coming towards well, let's go and grab that real quick, and we'll come back to that. Revelation 3:10. It says, Revelation 3:10, it says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. All right, and part of this here great temptation is coming upon the earth is going to be what? Well, we can grab that right now too while we're in Revelation. All right, Revelation 13:16 says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So this is the new financial part of the new financial system that's coming up. All right, and we have all these different things. It's not just that, you got these what they call, not smart cities. They got a new name for them now. It used to be called sustainable cities, smart cities, and 15-minute cities now are what they call them. All right, these new systems and everything that they have set up to where they're going to be able to track and trace all your movements, your spending habits, your health, and everything else like that, man. See, this is the new system that they're coming into, the so-called prevent. We'll go back to it when they're talking about. Well, let's go back to it now. Not Second Thessalonians, First Thessalonians 5. Right? Let's start back at the top. But at the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you. All right, because again, we've been watching. We know what time it is. We know what Esau's plans are. Right? It says, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord shall come as a thief in the night. Right? It's going to come unexpected to those that aren't watching. All right, just like how. Hey, we was out there prophesying about Babylon the Great was going to come to a grinding halt. The city of Murphy was going to cease and all these things before the pandemic hit. Then guess what? People didn't want to listen. They didn't want to believe. Then all of a sudden the pandemic hit. We were straight. Our mindsets was, like the scripture say, comfort yourself one another with these words and everything else like that. Matter of fact, is it in the same chapter? Nah. Isn't yeah. Well, let's read verse 11. 1 Thessalonians 5:11. It says, well, I'm going to read this in NLT after this, but it says, wherefore comfort yourselves together and edify one another even as you do. So that's what we have been doing at the point in time. We have been prophesying and preaching, and guess what? The elect was listening, man. All right. Verse 11 in the NLT says, so encourage each other and build each other up just as you already do. So we were already being built up for the time, being prepared for the time of the so-called collapse or winding down, circling the drain of Babylon the Great, whereas everybody else, they was in panic mode. They didn't know what the hell to do, man. All right, people was offering themselves at a higher rate than normal because they didn't know what the hell was, friends and families, relatives that knew us, that didn't cut us off because of what we were into, started calling us up on the phone, trying to figure out what the hell was going on. All right, but look, it says, but the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly the day of the Lord shall come as a thief in the night. Let me skip verse 3. Verse 4. But ye, brethren, are not in the darkness, that the day should overtake you as a thief. You are all the children of light and the children of the day. We're not the children of the night, nor of the darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. So, hey, going into all of that, we've been watching these things, so we don't get caught off guard with these things. We know what the game plan is coming down the pipeline. So in a scenario like this, when it comes to the banks and everything, this so-called collapse and everything, and be like, oh, well, let me go over here and examine what the situation is. Okay. So worst come to worst, if the bank collapses, we're not saying if the bank collapses if they don't collapse. We're just saying if the bank collapses, what's the worst that's going to happen unto us, right? You know what I'm saying? As the regular people that's in the bank, me, you, him, and her, the ones that they want the reaction out of. Because please believe that the folks with the most money in the banks, these people that you thinking about that's got this, large amounts of money, all right, just like with SVB and all this stuff, before you found out about any of this shit happening, before it cracked on the news, they talked about any of this shit happening, those big dog investors that had that large money was already prompted and told about this shit, and they already moved their money up out of there. So really, and that's really what triggered all this here stuff, man. All right, but in reality, you moving your little money out the bank is not that ain't really a sway in the market at all. All right, but they understand that this is how you're gonna want to move it, man. All right, but when you don't have a foundation in anything, man, you'll fall for everything. All right, so let's jump back up to verse 3. It says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail a woman with child, and they shall not escape. All right, and also going into well, let me read this in NLT. It says, when people are saying everything is peaceful and secure, then disaster will fall upon them suddenly as a pregnant woman labor pains begin, and there will be no escape. All right, because again, we know what type of system that they're going into. All right, so just wait for one of these scenarios, a couple banks to collapse, couple stir up in the market and volatility here and there, but then wait for we have the how do you call it, the not the stabilization. We have the thing that's gonna stabilize the market, more or less to say. We got the fix for all these things, man. They're gonna come out with a fix and everything else like that, but then at the end all be all, they're gonna give you a more secure system. All right, a more secure platform. Just think about this. You had people that didn't believe in crypto and everything else like that beforehand. And when Bitcoin started reaching like 60,000, they started putting it in the news and the headlines. Everybody started jumping on the Bitcoin. Then what happened immediately after? Bitcoin had fell to like $20,000, $15,000. People was upset, was pissed. Then you had the FTX collapse, and then crypto collapsed even more. People were upset after they had just got the taste of it. They started getting into it. They lost all this here money, and now they started believing into it, because before people didn't believe in it. Now people started believing into it, got sucked into it, lost their money, and then guess what was their response? The R word. We need regulations. We believe in it. We like it. We've been used to it, but now we need regulations. Now we need this. Now we need that. Now think about this. How many people are using Cash App, Venmo nowadays, and everything else like that, man? All right. So, hey, they already getting you used to using and sending currency digitally and everything else like that. But now they have to come in with the regulations because, oh, my Cash App got hacked, or this happened, that happened. They took my money out of this and that. We need regulations. Oh, we need a crypto. We need something like crypto, but a regulated crypto. Okay, the CBDC. We need a platform to be able to trade on that can't be hacked, like what they call Cash App or something like that. We need something like Cash App, but can't be hacked. That people can't control, or I got more control over. All right, well, we'll give you the Fed Now situation or something like that, so you can, you don't have the black market stuff, all your taxes and stuff be accounted for and everything else like that. You ain't got to worry about none of these things, man. All right, but hey, when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, man. All right, when they telling you that everything is all right, just like now with the there's another topic as well too, with the pandemic officially being over with. Yeah, right. Just imagine, not to say that the stuff that's going on, but as far as their narrative going on, man, please believe they about to come and hit you with the wham again. Right when they made you believe that everything was safe and secure, they're gonna hit you with something else again, man. All right. But nevertheless, I just want to touch in on this here little article because this was one of those panic moods that I kept seeing coming up with these things, man. And now you're starting to see, what's going on. It's a slow but gradual leading the people down the path of what accepting this here, or asking for the R word. They want regulations on this new financial system. All right, they want a new fixed up financial system. When we wasn't having no problems with the financial systems before they started creating all these here issues and everything else like that, man. All right, so hey, this is what let's go ahead and grab this precept as well too. We'll close out with that. All right, Job 5:12, I believe it is. All right, Job 5:12, it says, I'm going to read one more after this too. Job 5:12, he disappointed the device of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the forward is carried headlong. So, hey, let's go ahead and finish it off with this. Job 20:20, 22. It says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits, and every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. In the NLT, it says, in the midst of plenty, he will run into trouble and be overcome by misery. All right. Verse 23 says, when he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. So, hey, the Lord's about to disrupt his enterprise, this New World Order system, but he has to ramp things up a little further and then start pushing this here thing. So what we're really watching is the emergence of what this here beast system coming out into reality, man. All right. But hey, all these little things are just inching people closer and closer and closer. So you're starting to see a lot of psyops. Well, look, I wonder if we come on the news and tell the American population with these headlines what to do, will they actually do research into these things, or will they just follow what the headlines say? We seen that with the with the mask, right? The mask mandates and everything. Like I said, we still see them rolling around today. Oh, we told them about the banks collapsing and everything. We tell you about banks that you ain't never even seen before, or never even heard about before, or banks that don't even really deal with regular people. They deal with businesses and stuff like that. And you down at the local Wells Fargo, Bank of America and shit like that, trying to pull out your little $2,500 out the bank. And you think that this shit got something to do with that. And people at the bank looking at you like you retarded. But, hey, you think you really doing something. You see what I'm saying? But, hey, nevertheless, this is, Esau has this veil over their eyes, man. All right, the scripture say, blessed are your eyes will see the things that you see. All right, we see and we understand the prophecy, man. We understand the truth that's going on, man. All right, like the scriptures speak about, if our gospel be hid, is hid to those that are blinded, well, and vice versa, man. All right, hey, blessed our eyes are open that we not, like the scripture also say, roughly paraphrasing, how does it word it? This is no enchantment, roughly paraphrasing, no enchantment is going to be able to prevail against Jacob. You know what I'm saying? So these things ain't really working on the elect, man. All right, because the Lord has opened their eyes to see what's really going on and made them to be the watchmen to warn you about what's going on. So take heed to the trumpet, man. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and close out with that. Lord, when the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah Bahashim Kakadash. Double honor to the apostle and the elders, the great millstone that taught us this truth, never will. And citation, much love for you. I can push this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Till next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.